Welcome to the Fall Back to School in service. We are glad that you're here today and hope that you have had a great summer and a good break. It's a good time to refresh ourselves and get ready for the new school year. And what technology has for you today is showing you some enhancements as well as additions that we've been able to do to your classrooms this summer. So sit back and hope you enjoy the presentation. And if you do have questions, please direct them to your facilitator, who will be able to answer those or find you the answers that you need. Again, welcome to the Fall Back to School in service, and hope that this presentation brings and sparks new ideas for your new school year. Classroom package that we're going to discuss this morning is going to go over some items that we have in it, and it's going to start with is the iPad. The iPad is the device that was handed out to the majority of you last spring. We briefly went over what some of the capabilities of the iPad and what it can do, the functioning of it, not necessarily how you can use it and so on and so forth. It was just basically going over what the iPad was, how it works, what it's connected to, and so on. The next device we have for you is the Apple TV. The Apple TV is one that is in every room that we have with the speaker, and this is giving you that capability of mirroring, and that mirroring takes your iPad, mirrors it through the Apple TV up on your projector screen. As you can think of that, that gives you that flexibility of being able to be mobile, not tethered to your laptop, stuck at your desk or a podium. You're able to move around the room. We have a powered ceiling speaker that is in the majority of the rooms. The wall-mounted speaker is for those classrooms that could not take a powered ceiling speaker. And then we have the rooms that had the capability of the Promethean boards with speakers, so that we were able to utilize the speakers within the Promethean boards. We also have a desk clamp and iPad bracket that we'll be handing out, and that would be giving you some flexibility of how to handle the iPad, what you can use it for. The snake clamp that is used for that is flexible of what you can use it for. And the iPad bracket is just that. It holds your iPad in place. We do have the Splashtop Whiteboard app. That is the one app that the district will be purchasing for you. Later on in the presentation, we'll go into a little more detail of what it can do, and you'll be able to watch a short video from Splashtop itself that goes into more detail of the possibilities of what the Whiteboard app can do for you. As you can see, we have the desk clamp and iPad bracket. There's some visuals of what you can use it for. It's flexible. You can do, I don't want to say it's limited. It's limited to just your imagination of what you can use this for and how you can use the capabilities of it. We want to give you this tool and let your hands be free so you can use them for whatever teaching aspect that you would need. Yes, it can be used as a document camera, projected up on through your projector. Okay, the apps that you have for your iPad. What those are is they're yours. Okay, your apps that you have found, you did your research, you've went out there, looked at any of the apps that you can use to help in your teaching experience. Those belong to you. They're purchased by you. They are updated, they stay with you, and so on and so forth. We know that those apps are ones that you've taken the time to see what you can use in your classroom. So we want you to be able to know that we will take care of your iPad. We'll make sure that it's running to its best capabilities. But as far as the apps that are installed on it that are yours, we will not be supporting of those. The district, though, does have its own apps that we'll be having. Now, of those district apps, yes, we know that they will belong to the district, be installed by us, they stay with the district, and we will be the ones that will send out updates letting you know when those are ready to go. Right now, that is just one app, and that is the Splashtop Whiteboard app, which is a pretty powerful app in itself that we will take care of at the district, so it's nothing that you have to worry about. The Apple TV is going to give you that mirroring capability for your iPad through your projector. That's the new device that you're going to have. Yes, it's a device that Apple has developed. We need you to keep an eye on your remote because they are small enough that they can get misplaced very easily, so please keep track of those. We have the Splashtop Whiteboard app, which displayed here kind of gives you some pictures and some ideas of, as I mentioned before, we'll go into a little more detail later in the presentation that shows you some other capabilities of what the Whiteboard app can and what you can use it for. The more training that we're talking about, it's the new technology that we're dealing with today. The Apple TV, more in depth on the iPad, the speaker, the bracket, all of that, those are things that we're going to be going over with. And we're showing you those things and we're giving them to you. We're giving you the basics. We know how some of them work, but we don't know how some of the apps work. We don't know how all of this will tie together. That's where you're going to be able to utilize your abilities, your creativity to make these things work to their best. We don't have the answers. We never will have all the answers. But you know what? You will become the expert. You'll become the one that will take these tools to their fullest. And we want you to explore them. We want you to have that fun with it. Be creative, as we mentioned. Have fun with these. Don't be afraid of the devices. Use them to enhance your teaching experience to where your students will even learn, in some cases, greater than what they had before because of the excitement, one, that you're showing, and through the new technology that we have here, the opportunities that we have and what we're putting before you. Now we're going to talk about building specific networks. Whatever network you may think that you belong to, and specifically we're going to deal with your iPad. Now this is a screenshot of what your iPad has under settings. When you look at the Wi-Fi settings, it'll tell you what network that you are connected to, and this one shows you that you are connected to the THS East teachers, and you as teachers will have specific networks for each of your buildings that you are located in. The main thing that I need to tell you is that make sure that your wireless is turned on. Sometimes it does get turned off accidentally, but make sure that your wireless is turned on, your Wi-Fi is turned on, so that way you can make sure that it is going to do and work the way you would like it to. Next, you can check and see what your wireless signal is like. Your Wi-Fi signal is up there in the upper left. Kind of looks like a baseball field, and if you have 3 bars, then you got a good strong signal. We have our specific group, which the group here is representing the teachers. Then you have your building specific network, which this one is for the High School East. And then the blue check mark does show that your network is selected, that's what it's connected to. And also if you look at the blue color, it also is telling you that that is the network that you have selected. Now we have the listing here to show you the specific networks for each of the buildings. These are the wireless networks that are built for the iPad. And to show you that each of these are predetermined, preset for your iPad, you don't have to worry about any of these networks. They are in a profile that we pushed out to you when we set the iPads up. So if you were to go from the elementary school to the middle school, your iPad would automatically connect to those networks. The other wireless networks that we have, what we want to go over with you on this is that just to show you the other ones that will show up in your iPad when you look at your networks. We don't want you to be alarmed or concerned about the other networks that are there. They are specifically used for other purposes within the district. The main one that you need to be concerned about here is the mobile wireless THS or TES teachers or TMS teachers and so on and so forth. But we're going to deal with here is sometimes it does happen that they get connected to the wrong network. So what we're going to work on here is showing you how to forget a network. How to do that is follow these simple steps. For instance, this is displaying Tonganoxie Public. Tonganoxie Public is the least desirable network that we have, and it is a service that the district offers to the patrons of the district when they come into the district. Well, what we want to show you is that how you can forget a specific network, especially as if you were connected to one accidentally, as I mentioned prior. As you can see here, when you look at the Tonganoxie Public, you look at the little blue arrow, you click on the blue arrow on the right, and what it displays for you is specifics about that network. Not that that means anything that you need to worry about or be concerned of, but it just shows you the specifics of the details of that network. What we would want you to do next is to click Forget This Network. What this does is then produces another window that says, do you really want to remove it? Now, it doesn't remove it from the list. It just makes it to where it will not connect to it. That's the advantage of having the forget network, so you don't ever have to worry about accidentally being connected to it. Now, yes, if you were to actually physically touch Tongi Public, it would connect to it again. For your other network info that we have listed here is that your iPad is already configured. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about passwords. You don't have to worry about selecting a specific network. They are configured automatically. We are secured just like any other part of the district network that we have within the buildings. The passwords are embedded. You don't ever have to worry about a password. And yes, we will not give out that password. If you have problems with your network, please submit a help desk ticket, contact IT, and we will get that taken care of. Now we're going to talk about the Apple TV. And the Apple TV, nice little device that Apple has developed, will be mirroring your iPad up through your projector up on your screen, is the Apple TV. So we're going to go through a few details on it. We'll start with mirroring, and what is it? Well, mirroring is the ability to take your iPad and whatever you're working with, what app you're working with, what's displayed on your iPad would be displayed up on your screen of your projector. That's what the Apple TV is providing us the ability to do so. And mirroring, on how we'll do it, we're going to go into that on how easy it is to mirror your iPad to the Apple TV and be used through your projector. Now, why would you mirror? Well, this is what we're looking at as the mobility, the freedom that's going to give you in your teaching. With the iPad, gives you mobility, gives you the ability to move around your room and to interact even more with your students. We think is going to help in the teaching aspect. There is going to be a password with this. Now, the password is not something that you need to remember. It is going to be displayed every time you would mirror your iPad through the Apple TV. It's a 4-digit password that will be displayed and changed every time that you mirror. When you go to mirroring, and we'll go into that here in a few minutes, you'll see how easy it is. You just enter in the code, you're mirrored. When you mirror again, you get another code, you enter it in, and so on and so forth. It makes it to where you will be the one that is connected to it, not somebody else, or it interferes with another classroom because of what is being displayed up on your screen. So when you turn on your projector, this would be the display that you would see. It's showing the Apple TV, and it shows that you have computer and settings. That's what you would see because your Apple TV is never turned off. It is always on. Mirroring function is very simple to do. You would then take that home button and press it twice, which then shows this type of display. It turns the main screen gray. It shows you what apps that are open, not physically open, but they have been linked because you have opened them. You swipe to the right, and then once you've done that, you'll see this little symbol there for AirPlay, little rectangle with the triangle. Once you have selected the AirPlay, then you are selecting the room you are in. And what's going to show up in your AirPlay display here, and yes, it can scroll up and down, is just what Apple TVs are available within your building. And once you have selected that, you make sure that mirroring is turned on. Once it's turned on, you'll see that little check mark there by the room that you're in. Now your mirroring is there, and once that happens, then comes the code that will display just like what you see here. You would enter that 4-digit code into your iPad, and now your iPad now is mirrored to your projector screen. You would see whatever you have on your iPad. If it's your home screen, that's what's going to be shown up displayed on your projector screen. Okay, now we're going to talk about Apple TV updates. You will see the following screen displayed showing and telling you about the Apple TV update. Do I install it myself, or do I wait for tech? Well, we would like you to wait until you hear from us that this update is okay. It's one reason I selected the update later selection up on the screen itself. What we don't want to have happen is that you see an update and you automatically do it, and it messes with the network. It messes with the way that your display is set up. That's what we don't want to have happen. So please wait for us to give you the okay. Yes, we will let you know that it's okay to do, but you will hear from us to move forward with those. So if you see an update come up on your Apple TV, please, if you would, please wait until you hear from tech, and then we can move forward. You have a speaker now that's been added to your room, and what that's going to give you the capability of doing is now you'll be able to hear better through any videos that you may play or sound clips. You can play music, anything that you play through your computer, through your iPad, mirroring it through the Apple TV. All of that comes through that speaker now, so you have a little more volume to it, so you're not relying on just the speakers that are within the projector. Now, most of you are going to have a ceiling mounted speaker, and that's kind of displayed what it looks like here. You may see a little green light in it or a red one. The green means that it's not in use. The red means that it's in use. Here's a picture of the wall-mounted speaker and what it looks like. It does have volume control on it, and they are preset. What we felt was the best level for that particular room, so you do have the capability of controlling that. Next we have is the Promethean board. The Promethean board has a good sounding set of speakers in it. We have wired it to plug in directly to those, so that way you can control the volume just like the wall-mounted speaker through the volume control that's on the Promethean board itself. So how would you control the volume? With the ceiling mounted, with the wall mounted, and with the Promethean board. The Promethean board has its own volume control. The wall-mounted speaker has its own volume control, and the ceiling mount does not. But you can control those with the devices that you use, such as your computer, your iPad. There is a audio jack that is by your desk. We ran it to wherever your desk was set up, and where we felt that that was the best location, wherever you had your computer set up. Those are where we put the audio jack through. You would plug that into your computer or to your iPad or whatever device you would have, and you are ready for sound to be displayed through your speakers, to be heard through them. Now, these are the listings of devices that are literally a plug and play. You can plug in your computer and play the music from it. You can play the videos from it. Any of that you would normally use through the VGA and utilizing the speaker within the projector, now you have a little bit more volume and a little bit more good sound coming from this speaker, so you don't have to turn it up as loud as it'll go, and now you'll be able to hear it. And they do sound good. And same with the iPad. Any of the other devices mentioned here, those would be able to be controlling of your volume on the device itself. Alright, we're in the section called FYI, or Quick and Easy Troubleshooting. We're going to be going over troubleshoots or information for you that you can have for the Apple TV, for the iPad, for do you put the device to sleep or do you turn it off? How do I do that? Why would I do that? And we would also go into checking your network, as what we mentioned in the building network section, just making sure that you are connected to the correct network. This will be one page that you will get to use to seeing, as is what you saw last year, is authenticate, authenticate, authenticate. Make sure that when you authenticate, don't close the window, because just like the end of last year, that you have a period of time that you'll have to re-authenticate and open this page, enter your username and password all over again. So if you just minimize it, do remember that some apps will require you to be authenticated for those apps to work correctly, because they do require the internet to make sure that they work. So this is something that you will see more often with the iPad and some of the apps, as well as trying to access the internet from your computer. You still have to do the authentication, so it's part of life. Now we get into password visibility from your iPad, and what this is referring to is that if you are mirrored and then you have to authenticate, for instance, through using your iPad and enter in your password, when you enter it in one character at a time, it is visible up on the screen. So what we're wanting to let you know of is just once again some information for you. Enter in your password, get it authenticated, then do your mirroring. As far as the password code for your mirroring of your iPad, that 4-digit code, obviously we know that the class can see it because it's displayed up on your screen for the mirroring purpose. But we do not want you to then select an app that is going to require you to authenticate your iPad, because then once you do that, that is going to be seen by your classroom on the screen, one character at a time. Yes, I know it does go to a black dot, but it starts off with whatever numeral, letter, symbol you put in there, it is seen. If for any reason you think you question that, or you think, okay, did I do that or not, by all means, change your password. Get it taken care of so that way nobody can get into your information that you have. Tech is going to be visiting each of the buildings on a schedule that we're putting together for the bi-weekly type of scheduling, as it says. We are going to find ourselves at each of the buildings there to take care of the help requests that you've submitted, also looking at any updates that would need to be done for staff computers and student iPads, staff iPads, anything that needs to be taken care of. We are there to help do that. We do want you to stop in and see us, say hi to us, and also if you have just questions that, hey, just a concern that may not necessarily require a help ticket, stop in, ask us. We'll take care of the question. If we feel like it needs to be submitted as a ticket, we will ask that you do that. So trying to find ways that we can help you out, as well as beginning of school, go a lot smoother. So stop in and see us and say hi, and if you have questions, please submit those as well. Other information, well, we have a few things that I want to make sure that you're aware of. Now, Adobe Flash and the iPad, because of Apple, they don't work together. But doesn't mean that you cannot view Flash through your iPad. If, for instance, using your Whiteboard app, if you connect to your laptop using the Whiteboard app, you play a Flash video through your laptop, your iPad, and mirrored up on your projector screen. It's one way, kind of as a workaround, that it does take care of that. So, but do know that Flash itself does not work with the iPad. Authentication for the internet still required for your iPad, for your laptop, for any of the desktop computers. You still have to authenticate. Get it this way too. For your iPad, if you are mirrored and you have a specific app that you're wanting to show, and that app requires the internet, once again, like I mentioned in the last slide, you will have to authenticate, but you've got to be careful with that and your entering in of your password, because it is seen one character at a time. So authentication is still required for the internet access. There is a reason for that and a purpose for it, and you still need to authenticate. So please remember that as what we ran into last year. You still have to authenticate. Authenticate, open the page, leave it open, go to another tab, and move forward. Your Skyward widgets. You get this little message that says, do you want to reset your widgets, yes or no? And some of you have pushed no, and you'll do it later, do it later, do it later. Please do this. I mean, it takes all but about 2 to 3 seconds. It's done. Go ahead and update them, just making sure that everything's running the way it should be. Media files. Now, this is very important that I need to make sure that you are very aware of. Downloads that you have on your computer, video clips that you have stored and you have transferred those from a flash drive or so on and so forth, pictures that you have put on your computer, and music files that you have that you think are stored on your computer. Moving forward, these 4 selections, your downloads, your videos, your pictures, your music, all of those are not being stored on the server because of space allocation that is needed for those types of files. We are storing them locally on your hard drive. So it's not that you can't put them on your machine, you can, but this is not the responsibility of the tech department or the district to make sure that they are backed up anywhere. If you need them backed up and or taken off of your machine, it is your responsibility to do so. So what that means is this. Here's the showing of the location for where your media files are. You have your downloads, your music, your pictures, and your videos. This is a screen capture of what your actual document files would look like. So it's just pointing out to you what files are going to be going to a specific location and what you would need to back up. Now what that references is this. Here is what you would have. You can take and you can put the videos on your hard drive, you can put the pictures on your hard drive, the music through iTunes, all of that information can be stored locally on your hard drive. If for any reason your machine had a problem to where it would have to be re-imaged, those files are gone. We are not taking care of making sure that they're backed up. We are freeing up our server of that added excess space that was used for these types of files. We are changing that to where it is now your responsibility to make sure that those files are backed up. You need to make sure that you take care of that. Here's just some examples. You can put them on a thumb drive. You can put them on an external hard drive. You can put them on a CD or a DVD. You can burn those images, those videos, those files to these types of devices. We are not providing these. This is something that is your responsibility. Make sure that you are connected to the correct network. If for any reason you have a question, please let tech know so we can make sure that you don't have issues with connecting your iPad to the network of the building that you are in. Each of the buildings, as mentioned earlier, do have their own network, and we want to make sure that you are connected to the correct one. Yes, it is set up to where if you go from building to building, it is done that way. So just a quick and easy look at your Wi-Fi. Click that button. It shows you which network you are connected to. Also make sure that your Wi-Fi is turned on. Another way of sleep versus off. Which do I do? Now, to put the iPad to sleep, press and release the on-off button. What that does is it darkens the screen. It doesn't shut it physically off. It just makes it to where you're turning it off, but you're not. To turn the iPad completely off, you just hold the button down until you see the red arrow appear like what's here, slide it to the right, and then that physically shuts the iPad down. And then to power it on, you just hold down that button until you see the Apple start appear, and then it's booting up. It's as simple as that. Now, the next slide is a very important one, so if you have a problem with the iPad that it freezes on you, one thing to do, a hard reset, is to hold the home button and the on-off button at the same time, to hold them both down for about 10 seconds, then let them up, and then that reboots the machine. Is what's called a hard reset. Alright, to update or not update. Well, here's something I want you to think about. You know, all updates are great, right? Not necessarily. All updates should be installed, right? Not necessarily. We have system updates that you would see, and you have app updates. Well, the system updates, yes, you can do them on your iPad. Yes, you can do them to your apps. But what we ask on the system updates is that you please wait for tech to know that the update is not going to affect anything. As I mentioned with the Apple TV updates, is that making sure that it doesn't do things to the network that all of a sudden it causes you problems for connectivity. That is an issue. That's what we try to see first before updates are released. So not always good to do the first new update that comes out, because it usually has an issue with it at times. So just remember, the updates that are for the apps that you take care of, you're the one that manages those. We do not. We are to the stage of the Splashtop Whiteboard app, and that Whiteboard app is one that the district is providing for you. We will be installing those. We'll push them out to each of the iPads in the district, and First off, we see here too of what you can control with the laptop and while teaching your classroom. This is one thing that makes this app is that a presentation or video on your laptop, you can connect to your laptop via the Splashboard app with your iPad. Now you're mirrored up on screen, giving you another way and another option of what you can do in your classroom. The other parts of this that come up with it, you can annotate over PowerPoint, as I mentioned. You can pass the iPad around and you can have students make comments on specific slides or what's being displayed. You can annotate over anything. The other things that you can do, you can play animation. You can play those discovery videos with Flash Media through your laptop. So it opens up a very wide door. You know, it's a great tool to use with the technology that you already have. You see here you have different gestures that do different things with the iPad itself. You can mirror what you're trying to show up on from your computer up onto the projector screen, plus gives you the mobility to get around your classroom and utilizing the flexibility of what the iPad offers and the interaction of you with your students learning this instead of stuck behind a desk, tethered to a desk or a podium. What we're going to go through here is how to get started with the Splashtop Whiteboard app. We first need to download and install the Splashtop Streamer. Now, this program is available for all teachers to install, so we will help you in walking you through what we need to do that. So we need to follow these steps to make sure that that happens. First, you would need to go to your control panels. And then you would take and open up the Programs button underneath Control Panels. Next thing we look at is Run Advertised Programs. Now when you look at this list, you watch and you look for the Splashtop Streamer app that is towards the bottom. You would click Run. Once you click Run, and it'll go through. It's not anything that's going to happen in about 5 seconds. It does take some time for it to install, and then you can either close this window and go back to it following the same pathway to get to it. Once you see successful on the status, then the program is installed. Now that the program is installed, now we're going to follow the steps to get it up and running, so then you can be utilizing the Whiteboard app. First, you're going to check Splashtop Streamer. This will be the first windows that come up. You make sure that you check this box and that you select OK, which then shows this one, shows to finish the install. So now we have the terms. Yes, we said we accept these, but you also make sure this is not checked. You select Accept. You enter in or create account. If you do not have an account, you do need to create one. And yes, you can utilize your district email address and your district password, so it's not another password you have to come up with. So you need to create the account, and then once you enter in your email, your password, and confirm your password, you create account. Now, as you can see there, your account is set up. But there is a security password that you're going to need to develop for this. So what we have to do, we have to select the Others tab. Now this Others tab gives us the ability to create your security code. Yes, the security code can be your district password. So that way you know how to access your laptop through the Whiteboard app by utilizing your district password. Once that is done, you select OK. Check the box so you don't see that message again. Now we're going to go get ready to connect to your iPad. You're going to open up the Whiteboard app, follow the on-screen instructions for setup. The app will be available on your iPad by the IT department. You don't pay for it, you don't download it. We will push it out to your iPad so you don't have to worry about that. The first thing you're going to see is that which computer you have is yours, and you select that. You enter in your security password. Now remember, that is, as we suggested, that is your district password is what you used for your security code. And now you can see that you are connected. Your iPad, as it's see here, it is connected. And here you can see the your desktop on your iPad. So now you're running an Apple device, running a Windows device, so it's actually pretty cool. If you click the button down there, if you see where the Splashboard toolbar was, when it is not active it's black, when it's active it is in the yellow. And you can see how, if you go back here, you'll see how that was black. You're connected. See the black there, and then once you go through here it turns it yellow. Then you also see the toolbar displayed up there. Same for the keyboard. It's the little with the little triangle with the dots underneath it, or it looks like an arrow, however you're visually seeing that. You click that, and once that's the keyboard listed right there, you click it, and then boom, now you've got a keyboard, which actually is a pretty nice keyboard. It's a shame Apple didn't talk to Splashboard or Whiteboard about their keyboard, because this one's pretty awesome. Now we also do have a short video here that we would like you to watch. This is from Splashtop Whiteboard themselves. So it is an introductory video that is available on YouTube, and it goes over with some of what the Splashtop Whiteboard app can do for you, and hopefully spark some ideas of what classroom usage.
Splashtop Whiteboard allows teachers and students to turn their iPad into an interactive whiteboard. By connecting to their classroom computer, they can watch Flash media with fully synchronized video and audio, control their favorite applications, then annotate over lesson content, all from an iPad. Teachers can now interact with students at their own desk or from all four corners of the classroom. You'll be in control. Replacing your mouse and keyboard with the iPad, you'll be free to roam around the classroom, bringing the lesson to the student. With simple gestures, you can annotate over anything, including video. Simply press the pen icon to enter the annotation mode. Everything you'll need appears in the floating toolbar. Here you'll have access to different colored and sized pens, highlighters, shapes, and text tools, in addition to blank templates. Made a mistake? Simply undo. A keyboard provides full text entry, so you can enter a URL or edit a document without walking back to your desk. Take snapshots of the screen and save them into a gallery. You can then email these saved snapshots to students, parents, or other colleagues. Press the pen icon again to exit the annotation mode. Splashtop Whiteboard app makes it possible to use the software you're already using day in and day out. There's no need to purchase new apps with limited functionality when you can simply make use of the ones you've already paid for. The Whiteboard app also works in tandem with both PowerPoint and Keynote presentations, as well as your Mac or PC browser, its bookmarks, and plugins. View Adobe Flash content, listen to your iTunes music library, and watch videos as they were meant to be enjoyed, in high definition, but without any of the painful syncing session. You can then annotate over them without having to cut and paste into another document. If you're searching for cost-effective ways to expand the capabilities of the technology already available in your classroom while staying connected with your students, then the Splashtop Whiteboard app is your solution. If you're an educator and want to use the Whiteboard app in your classroom, you'll need to download and install the Splashtop Streamer onto your Mac or PC. Next, download and install the Splashtop Whiteboard app onto your iPad. Then launch the Whiteboard app, connect to your desktop, and you'll have an interactive whiteboard that you can share with your students. And if your students have their own iPads, they can get in on the action as well. You'll find yourself connecting in more ways than you ever thought possible with Splashtop's Whiteboard app.
Well, one thing I want to say is I hope you've enjoyed this presentation today. I want to say thank you, and hopefully these have sparked some ideas, giving you some new insight of what the technology is that we have for you, but also seeing of how you can use them in your classroom to make this year a great year.